This is Unearthing Eden, a podcast hosted by two witches where we will primarily be discussing all things witchy and metaphysical. Welcome to our garden. Hey guys, it's been a while, and we're back. It was pretty rough. I know that YouTube was doing some kind of ID verification thing. We did get hit with that, but it's all taken care of. We should be all set. So I apologize for the break in schedule for anyone who may care. But today we are doing a Witchcraft 101 video, and we're going to be getting into cleansing and protection. So cleansing and protection specifically can vary depending on what culture you're from, what type of practices you employ in your witchcraft, and how you as a person view it. So if you are the kind of person who is very, very nervous about getting into witchcraft and spirituality or trying something new, or maybe you came from a belief system where it was a lot of fear based on spiritual practices other than what you were taught growing up, protection and cleansing could be one of the biggest things to you. I do want to add a little note onto this. So going by the law of attraction, if you are the kind of person that believes in the law of attraction, like attracts like, it means what it means. So essentially, however you feel or whatever you put out there, you are going to receive back. Now, this is not me saying you can't do anything negative, like when it comes to cursing and hexing, because, that would be hypocritical of me to say, but it is very much perspective based. So if you are constantly putting out the fear of something is going to get me if I don't do this, or something bad is going to happen, or, oh no, I might open up a portal to something, then you are going to start attracting that negativity. So just keep that in mind when you go into your spirituality, when you go into protection magic specifically. Everybody should know how to do it. Everybody should know how to cleanse and be cleansing regularly. And everybody should have some sort of protection in place. But it should not be your sole purpose in your craft. You should not be waking up every single day in fear for your life that something's going to get you if you don't do some elaborate ritual every full moon or something like that. A basic protection ward or a basic protection ritual that you do at the beginning of your craft should be sufficient enough moving forward, especially for the basics. Now, if you're getting into like a little bit of the low level stuff, we all go through it. We all have emotions. We all have bad days. We all get angry. That's totally normal. But just keep that in mind when you're moving forward with protection. Don't make your whole world revolve around the fear and the needing to be protected. Once you know that you're protected, believe it. And once that solidifies in your mind, you are safe. You are good to go forward with everything. Now, I have a list of levels that I personally created. This is not something that needs to be a part of anybody's practice but my own. This is just the way that I categorize certain things that I have personally experienced. This is by no means saying that one thing is more dangerous than the next thing, or one thing is more powerful than another thing. This is simply a list that I have put together of things that I have personally encountered and dealt with. So, level 1, I would say that a level 1 type negative energy would be like an energy vampire. So, what an energy vampire is it's someone, or in other cases, a little bit more serious cases, something that drains your energy. Now, this could be, for example, a coworker or a family member that anytime you're around them, you just feel so emotionally drained almost immediately. So they could either do this by trauma dumping on you and not offering anything back to you. They may be using up your emotional resources and constantly relying on you for things. It could be somebody who maybe makes really negative, underhanded comments to you, commenting on the way you look, the way you talk, the way you dress, just making you feel low and lowering your vibrations. So that is essentially what an energy vampire is. It's pretty easy to block them off for the most part. For me, I'm pretty much I would say that I'm confrontational to an extent. So something like setting your boundaries clearly with them could effectively cut them off of your energy. You could do a cord cutting spell, which I would recommend learning a lot about that before you go into doing any type of spells when it comes to cord cutting, but essentially it is breaking that energetic tie that you have with that person. They could be doing this to you unknowingly or knowingly. So I wouldn't just go around and accuse people of draining your energy because it is yours to take back as well. It is your choice at the end of the day. You might not even realize that you have a choice in it, but you always do. And some people in certain situations don't, and I totally understand that. So that's when I would do certain protection spells or barrier spells to block them off until you get to a point where you are able to verbally cut them off or set your boundaries in a very powerful way. You can reclaim that energy back from them. So, level 2 can kind of be tied into level 1. I would say it's a form of a hex, it's an evil eye. So, an evil eye is like, again, it can be done knowingly or unknowingly by somebody. It could be somebody who is envious of you. You might have gotten a promotion or got a good grade on a test or something, and you might brag about it, which everybody likes to brag. Everyone wants to share their accomplishments, but somebody might hear it and not be too happy about you succeeding. And they could in turn unknowingly evil eye you. And this does come from looking at you a certain way. You can kind of feel the energy from it. This can lead to illness, it can lead to bad luck in general, having strange dreams, being unable to sleep properly, body aches. And with the bad luck, this would be sudden bad luck, not just one or two things happening, but a noticeable pattern that is occurring. You could even have a sensation of being watched out of nowhere. So they're not exclusive to the evil eye, but I would recommend seeking professional help with any of those symptoms and just make sure that it is not a health issue that can be fixed or observed by a professional. Level 2, or excuse me, level 3 would be a general hex, somebody intentionally putting a hex on you. So this could be whatever the practitioner against you would want it to be, but in a lesser scale than a curse. So again, general bad luck, somebody falls ill, you fall ill, maybe you're having skin problems all of a sudden. Again, please make sure you seek professional help before just assuming that somebody is out to get you. Again, remember, like attracts like. So if you are constantly paranoid and putting out that paranoid energy, you are going to be perceiving that everywhere you go. So just make sure that you cover those bases before you immediately jump into spiritual warfare. So it's, like I said, a lesser form of a curse. It could be tiredness. They could make you feel unsafe, maybe in your mind, short-lived hauntings, relationship issues all of a sudden, even fertility issues could occur. So just keep that in mind. If you do confirm that you are being hexed, which there are methods to confirm this, you can do an egg test, which is where you rub an egg over your body and certain chakra points, and then you crack it and you read the yolk in a glass of water. And there are other ways too, but that's the primary way that I check, and it can tell you a lot about what's going on around you. So keep that in mind. Nightmares are also a sign, and your dreams will tell you a lot as well. And it could be very symbolic of what the specific hex somebody put on you entails. I would even consider a love or obsession spell a type of hex because it is intentional and it can harm the person that it is placed against. It can cause certain dreams and being attached to somebody that you might not really want to be attached to. So, next level is 4, which is a curse. This can lead to more intense symptoms and even lead to death in some cases. I have seen certain practices where it is pretty common for them and they are very powerful spiritualists. And this is the absolute epitome, in my personal opinion and in my personal experience, of a negative force against you. So when you are cursed, it could be a little bit harder to shake, but those protections that you have in place can also be a really good barrier to keep you safe from people who may want to hurt you or may wish bad things upon you, which a curse goes a little bit deeper than just wishing something bad would happen. This is very intricate. A curse is a ritual. It is not just a quick spell, lighting a candle. This is something that somebody puts a lot of hate and anger into to use against you or to release into the universe against you spiritually. So just keep that in mind too. It can lead to intense hauntings. It can affect people around you as well: pets, children, relationships, parents, anything. Not to freak anybody out. Again, seek professional help. And also make sure you are looking at the mundane before you look at the spiritual. So if it is one or two bad things happening to you in a week, I wouldn't just automatically jump and say that it is a curse or a hex that somebody put against you. Just keep that in mind. So, level 5, I put as entities, which could be human or non human. This isn't on a scale by any means. So, it could be pretty harmless to have a spirit around you on your property or in your house, but it also could be very uncomfortable and negative in a sense where it really depends on what the entity wants from you and how you guys could possibly coexist in the same area. It could be somebody who lived on the property previous to you that is no longer with us. It could be residual energy from an event that occurred on the property or in the area that you live in. It could be an object that you have that has a certain energy attached to it. So cleanse things before you bring them in, and that should help a lot. Also, showing respect to the people who lived there previously and the land that you live on. Somebody has always been there first. You will never be the first person to walk on that patch of grass. You will never be the first person to reside in an area. Even if your house is freshly built and you're the first person to live in that house, it still means that somebody or something else could have resided on that property before, which is not to scare you, but just be mindful of that and also try to learn the spirit and educate yourself on the property. And then you can navigate it a lot better because it could be a harmless spirit that doesn't really know where it's at anymore. Things are changing. Imagine being stuck in a place with people you don't know, in a house that you don't recognize anymore, and the people are mad at you for it. So sometimes they don't have control of it, sometimes they do. Non human entities are a bit different. They are more so nature spirits, like we spoke about with the Fae episode. And it's just a matter of showing respect to the land itself. And with these nature spirits, they could be angry if you are destroying the land that you're on, if you are littering constantly, if you're not taking care of the place. It could cause a little bit of negativity build up. Remember, what's around you is what's within you. So, keeping a clear head, keeping a clear space, making sure you're taking care of your mental health, it goes a very long way. And Sarah, I know you had something you wanted to add.
Yeah. So, the house that I live in right now was built in 2022. And the first thing that we did was first we cleansed the house, and then we made sure that if there were any spirits or entities in the vicinity, that they knew that they were welcome on the land because they were at the land before us. But if they were to enter the house or decide to be in the house, if they could just respect that, you know, this is a new location that we enjoy being in. And, my house, I was in this building first type of thing, but I would never, you never want to kick them off of their land or out of anywhere because that's just not good for anything around you. And I feel like it's done pretty well. Knock on wood, so far we haven't had any issues, and I'm happy with the spirits that do live outside.
Yeah, and especially where we live too specifically. We currently live in the South, the deep South, I would say. And as we all know, if you know your American history, some pretty bad things happened out here. And it's better to be respectful because you never know where that energy originated from, and
Exactly.
allowing them the room to exist, because I believe that everything deserves to exist, and whatever emerged from the energy that was there before you, just know that it is not your specific fault. by any means, but it is something to keep in mind when you deal with certain spirits, and just know that they could be angry for a very good valid reason, and they don't recognize you. They just see the same things that they saw before in some cases, and it's a difficult situation to navigate, but always put your physical and mental health first. If you feel like you are in danger from a spirit, reach out to somebody who can help you. Do your research on it. There are plenty of people who will come to your house and help you cleanse it and help you understand what spirit is there and what energies are kind of hiding, and they can either release the spirits or cleanse your property and give you some really solid advice. Do make sure that they are vetted so you don't get scammed, but it's many different religions that go through it. You could get a Christian priest to come through from any denomination. You could get a priestess from a different sort of pagan religion, more folk cleansing. So when it comes to like Appalachian folk magic or shamanism, it really depends also on what kind of spirit you're working with and what they practiced before. So what I found very interesting is I can't remember where I read this, but it was saying that depending on what type of spirit you're dealing with, if that spirit was not a Christian during its life, if it's a human spirit that previously lived there, then a Christian method may not work. It's like talking to somebody in a language that they don't speak. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think that identifying that spirit first would be the initial step before proceeding. So you can find spiritual practitioners that can come and they're very professional and they work with different types of cultures where they know what they're doing. A lot of this land is native land. And so a lot of the spiritual practices predating colonism would be Native American spirits. Specifically, I would say Cherokee and Catawba. So make sure you're looking up the geographical area that you're in and figuring out what people previously practiced there, who lived there previous to you. And mind you, if you're buying a house that was already lived in, if anything extremely bad happened there, I could be wrong about this, but I think there is a law where the realtor has to disclose that to you. So keep that in mind.
Yes, they do have to let you know if anybody has died in the home and if there are any remains buried on the property. And I only know this because my sister almost bought a house that had a grave on it, and her husband said, "No, we are not buying a house with a graveyard out front." And she goes, "It's just one." I kind of
I
wish they
respect
bought
her.
that one. Right?
I know, just to see. I mean,
Right? Just
honestly, if you so I would see that personally just to take care of it. Obviously, I would want it to go to the family and whoever that person is related to
oh
is
yeah.
preferable. But if you are very respectful of the dead and you are not there to desecrate their remains or their graves. And I would say if you buy a house with a graveyard attached to it or somebody buried on the property, make sure you're upkeeping that grave and you're taking care of it and you're cleaning it and making sure that you can see the headstone if there is one, just to be sure that you are showing that person the respect that they deserve. Whether or not you knew them in life, I think that it would be a good way to keep the energy cleared and possibly help that spirit move forward because they know that things are being taken care of. So I'm going to send it over to Sarah to clarify some of the things that I was talking about, as well as share her own points for this episode.
So I'm gonna first start with detailing the evil eye origins. So when I was looking this up, it's a very interesting process. So the first time the evil eye was seen in history was roughly 5,000 years ago in the Upper Paleolithic age. So it's BC, but humans were starting to develop, you know, civilizations and everything along those lines. It's been seen across many religions, but it's most significant in Jewish, Muslim, and Christian faiths. The first culture to believe in this type of power was during the Greek and Roman times in the Middle East and Turkey. But in the Middle East and Turkey, they use a different word for it that unfortunately I can't pronounce because I don't speak Arabic. So Mickey is going to add it on the screen right below. So the use of an evil eye charm is thought to ward off evil or bad energy. This energy can be in the form of another person wishing ill will onto you, or even someone who is simply envious of the materials that you have in your life, as Mickey mentioned. The whole purpose of the evil eye charm is to protect the wearer by deflecting the negative energy and bad fortune back at the person who is casting it at you. It's one of the most well known protective talismans as well. The concept of the evil eye originates in ancient Greece, where it was believed that a malicious glare could cause illness, injury, or bad luck to the person it was directed at. In Greek mythology, the gods and goddesses were believed to be able to cause harm with their stares, and wearing an amulet or a charm would help prevent that malicious intent from attacking the wearer. Their charms were not the evil eyes that we know today. That one is believed to have originated in Turkey, and this is the design that we'll see on the on jewelry, decorations, and a lot of the times it's going to be hanging in babies' rooms on their cribs. That is the blue glass eye shape with the white and then the black. So the white iris and black pupil, you can have different colors, but the blue is going to be the most notable and the most easy one to pick out. The whole point is of having an evil eye pendant is to protect something close to your heart or to ward off negative energies on the daily. You can pair it with other protective amulets, but it'll always be keeping a watchful eye over you and it'll always offer you protection. The most common mix you may see is the evil eye and the Hamza design intertwined. This combination encourages the wearer to look beyond what surrounds them and towards something more profound. Fun fact about the pendant before I get into some personalized things. They are mostly made from glass, which means that they're prone to cracking or breaking over time. Almost all cultures see the breaking of the glass as the ultimate protection from a major negativity. Most will say that it served its purpose and protected the wearer to the best of its ability, while in Turkish belief specifically, all bad energy is directed to the bead instead of the wearer. And once that bead cracks, that means all the bad energy was successfully diverted from the wearer and into the bead instead. I really love that. It kind of gave me chills when I read that. I was like, oh my gosh, but like I really hope mine doesn't crack. But anyway, so me, Mickey, and one of our friends, Shonda, we all recently got some evil eyes with crystals. I'm kind of gonna give you guys a little bit of rundown of what we have. So mine is a rose quartz, and we all have the Hamza design with an evil eye in the middle as a charm that we've put on the clasp of the necklace, so we can each be protected from negative energies from to our faces and behind our backs. To me, my rose quartz and evil eye has helped a lot. I don't feel the negative glares or feelings around me anymore. If you're interested in getting one of these combinations, these are some of the things that I found for the rose quartz combination is emotional healing, relationship enhancement, removing negative energies, inner peace, self-acceptance, positive energies, and protection from evil. I've mainly seen removing negative energy, better inner peace, and protection from the evil spirits, and I'm working on my self-acceptance. If you want anything along those lines, go ahead and get that one. Mickey has an obsidian crystal with the same Hamza design, evil eye on the back clasp. We only have a few benefits for that one. We're gonna have a dual layered protection, enhanced psychic defense, inner transformation, and protection and good fortune. Have you seen any crazy changes or noticed anything while wearing it?
So, unfortunately, as you know, I can't wear necklaces for long amounts of time because they give me migraines. Don't ask me why. Anytime I have something hanging around my neck, it causes me to have headaches. Doesn't matter what I'm wearing. And it is quite heavy. But when I do wear it, I do get a sense of I would consider it stability or confidence, maybe. An extra barrier between me and everybody else's energy around me.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's definitely one of my favorite things that we've picked up. And then our friend Shonda has the same thing, but their crystal is opal, same Hamza design with the evil eye as the charm. But for opal, we're gonna have enhanced protection, spiritual growth and intuition, and positive energies. I haven't asked Shonda if she's noticed anything yet, so if she does watch this episode, comment below. We love you.
Hey, Shonda.
Hey Pookie. Anyways, so we're gonna get into our human and non-human entities now. I know that Mickey was talking about them, um, but I'm gonna give a little bit of detail. I'm not gonna go in too much detail just because there is so many. Non-human entities are non-physical beings or forces that exist beyond the human comprehension, such as deities, spirits, angels, and/or elementals. A lot of people will look to these entities for guidance as well as protection in the spiritual sense. These entities are based on different belief systems that can transcend time. Like I said, I'm going to list out a few with some minor information, but like I said, they're overviews. Each belief system is going to have multiple entities that can or will help you, but please do your research before seeking out these entities. You always want to go into something fully informed. So, for our Abrahamic religions, which is Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, we'll have angels, which are divine messengers and servants of God. They're also believed to watch over and protect believers. Guardian angels are specifically assigned to individuals for personal guidance and protection. Archangels are higher ranking angels with special missions. Archangel Michael, for instance, is often called upon for protection against negative forces. And then we have jinns, which are supernatural beings that can be benevolent or malevolent. Some are believed to guard treasures or places. And then we have our pagan and neo-pagan spirit guides. They are benevolent entities that offer protection, guidance, and wisdom. This can include spirits of deceased ancestors, deities, or other spiritual beings. We have our tutelary deities, which are gods or goddesses who act as guardians or protectors of a specific person, place, or culture. And then we have our household deities, which are specific spirits or deities that protect a home and its inhabitants. We can kind of think about Hestia. She's known as the deity of the hearth, I believe we went over. So she was always at the home, the heart of the home, and everything along those lines. Then we move on to our elementals, which are the nature spirits associated with the four elements. We have gnomes with earth, undines with water, sylphs with air, and salamanders with fire. Those are very straightforward. Not much to go with those guys. You can check out our episode of the Fae though, because fun fact is those are types of Fae. Anyway, we have our animism and indigenous traditions. So we'll have power or spirit animals. These are guides and protectors that embody specific qualities like strength, courage, or wisdom. In many cultures, these animals can be called upon for aid. So wolves and bears are going to be our main examples. Wolves are a symbol of protection, loyalty, and strength, while bears are courage, strength, and maternal protection. Again, we'll have our nature spirits, but these are going to be thought to inhabit elements in the natural world, including plants, geographical features, and animals. Respectful interaction is believed to secure their favor and protection. And then we'll also have totems, which can be an animal, plant, or natural object that is adopted as the emblem of a clan or individual because of the spiritual affiliation. They are considered protective spirit beings. And in Hinduism and Buddhism, we have our devas, which are in Buddhism are the shining spirits. These can watch over and guard humans. We have our tutelary deities in Hinduism, which are gods or goddesses who act as guardians or protectors of a specific person, place, or culture, much like pagan deities. But then we also have protective deities, which is Buddhism. Now, they are the exact same as tutelary, but they do have an additional thing that they see them as, which is a guard against negative influences. And then we have our ancient and classical mythology. So they would consider it genius loci, which is Greco-Roman, which is the literal spirit of a place. So whether you are looking at a temple or you're looking at a specific location, there will be a spirit at that place. Last but not least, we'll have folklore and modern, which are going to be familiar spirits, which is a supernatural entity that assists a witch or a cunning person in their practice. They will often take the form of small animals, and guardians, which are powerful protector entities, sometimes involving figures like the mythical Fu Dog, which is the Chinese guardian lion we'll see outside of shrines and their places of worship. Now, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said, each religion or practice has hundreds of entities that you can work with for protection, growth, acceptance, or just the need for a higher power. Please do your research before reaching out to any of these, and please do not go into a closed practice unless you are attached to that practice. Closed practices are something we should acknowledge and respect, but if you are not a part of it, do not make yourself a part of it. And then I'm gonna get into the human entities. So fun fact about that is I was stuck on this one for a hot minute. I had to call my friend Kat, and we were able to really figure out what I was looking for. So, to look at the human entity, we must look at this concept as a fully non spiritual in a way that people would consider fully atheist. Because at first we were like, oh, cult leaders like the modern ones, but they still end up worshiping a higher power. So that's how we ended up with that, what we would call, quote, fully atheist. This is gonna be when a human finds scientific and physical proof that everything around them is explainable with science and everything is humanity based. It will give them that level of protection of, quote, oh, well, this can be prevented if we do this, or this is explained because of da da da. The idea that there are no higher powers working or entities watching can be instantly freeing depending on how someone was raised. Personally, this is something I played around with for a little bit and then decided it was not the right way I wanted to go. I've always just kind of seen or felt like there was a higher power, and when I was like, "Oh, dismantling my organized religion," that's not really it ended up not being right, but it's really introspective when it comes to dismantling your organized religious thoughts, and you really come to terms with, do I still believe in something other than science? However, this thought process is not Scientology. This is atheism and scientifically proven facts versus believing in a higher power. Don't say that we're talking about Scientology because it's fully different. And then last but not least, before we do a little wrap up, I'm going to give you guys no horoscopes this week, but you guys are getting crystal cleansing ways, which I'm really excited about. So, the whole process of cleansing your crystal is to remove any negative energy that has been absorbed, clear any previous power imbued into the crystal, and to reset them to their most natural state for them to work best for your intentions. This process can also help you strengthen your relationship with your crystals and create bonds with them. It's best to cleanse them monthly or after a super intense period of heavy or bad energy. Here are a few ways that you can cleanse your new crystals or crystals you've had in your possession for a while. Now, this list is not the only ways that you can cleanse your crystal, but it's a really good starting point. But for crystals that can get wet, please, please, please make sure you are researching your crystals, not just their spiritual properties, but how to take care of them, because you don't want to mess them up. I take pride in my crystals that I have. So you'll have running water. You can run them underwater for a minute at a time. Move your fingers over them to wash away any negative energy attached. You can do that as long as you want. Your intuition will really tell you. But you can also do a saltwater bath. So what you'll do is you'll take a teaspoon of rock salt, pink Himalayan salt, or normal table salt and add it to a bowl of water. You can put your crystals in there. For how long to submerge? It depends. Whatever you feel. Personally, I don't use this method. It's not really my favorite. I try not to get any of my crystals wet, but some people do 30 minutes, some people do 4 hours, some people do overnight. If this is the first time you're charging them or cleansing them since buying them, the best recommendation is to leave them soaking overnight though. So for all of our crystals that you can get wet, like every single one, we can use saging, which is not very recommended because we have to make sure that we get our sage sourced culturally and ethically correct. So, take this with a grain of salt. It's just a way to cleanse things. So I do want to mention it. But again, just, be smart with where you're getting your things. It's a good way to restore its natural energy, and this because it's going to kind of make it as natural and normal as possible. Use sage spray or smudge with the smoke. The spray, I think the spray is a little easier to get your hands on, but again, make sure that you're getting it from the correct place. All that fun stuff. Visualization. Hold each crystal in your hands as you meditate and imagine a bright white light around you as you manipulate it in your hands. You should be able to feel the crystal becoming lighter, which is an indicator it's been cleansed. Sound cleansing. I haven't tried this yet, but I kind of want to. You have singing bowls or chimes. It'll help clear the negative energy from your crystals. And you can also use other crystals. So you can have like a crystal bed or have the crystals on or around a cleansing stone, such as selenite or clear quartz. I keep selenite in all of the rooms that I have crystals in, by the way. I have a few selenites. I have one in my game room, I have one in my kitchen, and I have one on my work desk. And that bad boy is coming with me when I go to my new spot for my new position. And of course, who would we be to not talk about charging our crystals? They're very different. So after we cleanse our crystals, we're going to want to charge them. This is going to replenish their energy and amplify their purposes and properties. Charging them will also increase their effectiveness, so you may see them working more often than not. Personally, I love a good lapis lazuli, so I cleanse mine with selenite to ensure all the bad and heavy energies are gone. And then I charge mine under a new moon or a full moon. A new moon is going to be a new beginning, banishing wards, protection, and creation, while a full moon is going to be for manifesting, celebrations, harvesting what you've sowed, and completion. I personally use a new moon to charge my crystals, so my lapis lazuli would give way to new beginnings with my inner peace, truth, wisdom, and self-expression, and or whatever else I'm imbuing my stone with. But here are some ways that you can charge your new crystals or crystals that you've had in your possession for a while. Again, it's not a full list, it's just a really good starting point. Like I just said, I use moonlight. So you could place it outside in a safe space or on a windowsill inside once the moon rises, and then you're going to want to remove it just before the moon sets, just before sunrise. I, to be honest with you, always have my husband move them because he's always up before the sunrise because he works nights. It's just easier for me. For our sunlight, we're going to place it outside in a safe space as well or on a windowsill once the sun rises, and then remove it once the sun sets just before moonrise. Like nightfall and moonrise, because the moon is out all times of the day, obviously. And then we have the earth, where we're going to place our crystal outside in a safe space, as always, in the grass, in the dirt, in trees or bushes, wherever you feel it needs to go, and you're going to let it absorb the energy for a few hours or overnight. And last but not least, meditation. We're going to place our crystal near a spiritual idol or in a meditation space, allowing it to absorb the ambient divine energy. If you guys do any interesting cleansing or charging, let us know in the comments because I am always down for a new way to cleanse or charge my crystals. I'm probably going to invest in sound. Mickey, do you have anything to add before you start the tarot?
I do not. I'm ready to get into it. So, for this episode, I pulled an upright Five of Pentacles. This tarot card can mean many different things. It could mean that you are seeking help and acceptance, or you are pushing away help in your support group. It could also indicate you need to be showing yourself a little bit more grace and being very patient with yourself. You may be pushing yourself a little bit too far and burning out. It could mean that you may need to be setting boundaries with certain relationships in your life. If a partner or a friend or even a coworker might be overstepping things, you might feel a little uncomfortable. This is what this card indicates, is that you need to speak out on it and you need to clearly set a boundary with this person, or you need to cut ties entirely. I don't want to call it selfish card, but it is centered on the self. So don't put yourself out to appease somebody else. It could mean you might need to disperse a little bit or do a little bit of self reflecting. You might need to keep your support group close. So, your friends and loved ones that you have around you that may be trying to reach out and help you, you could be denying that help or denying that you need help at all, when deep down you know that you do need them. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with needing help or needing somebody to be there for you, or even being there for yourself. If you're the type of person who is more of a loner, you don't consider yourself to have any friends, look around a little bit, pay attention to how people are treating you. And that's where you're going to find these connections. Because a lot of the times we can get too into our heads and think that we have nobody at all. So we're overlooking all of the love and support that we might have around us already. Even something as simple as a self-care night where you just take care of yourself and you do the things that you want to do instead of following what everybody else wants to do. Seeking out a connection with somebody you may not have spoken to for a while that may have been trying to reach out to you that you're not even aware of. So the Five of Pentacles, as I said, very selfish card. It really is a self-reflection, and you need to focus on yourself in that moment and really make sure that you are taking care of your mental and physical health. So that's all I have for the tarot card. Okay. So I'm going to send it over to Sarah to do the crystal of the week.
So, our crystal this week is garnet, and garnet has a special place in my heart because I'm a January baby and garnet is my birthstone. We're gonna go over the usual stuff. So, the properties of garnet is it's a very big healing stone. It's good with commitment and uplifting the spirit. It can also help clear out negative energies from relationships and help forge a close knit bond with a loved one. If you're in a feeling of crisis, garnet can help talk you off that ledge. And it's going to help you get your survival instincts to kick in so you can be at your best to handle the issue at hand. Oh, that works perfectly for Capricorns. But, anyways, unfortunately, though, the best zodiac sign to go with garnet is Aries and Leo. We're going to ignore the fact that it's Capricorn stone, but for an Aries, it's going to help them. It's going to give like a helping hand. It's going to bring strength and courage of the heart and the soul to the table, and it's going to help them gain respect from others. While Leo, if they want to be fearless, gives an extra oomph to that need and drive to want to be that fearless leader, and it's going to increase their strength, courage, and lion-like heart. Garnet is found in the US, specifically in Idaho, Montana, and New York in the Adirondack Mountains, Australia, Africa, and Madagascar. To be honest with you, I've used garnet unknowingly my entire life. Again, as I said, it's my birthstone, so I've always had a necklace or a bracelet or earrings or just something on me that is garnet. And recently I found a ring for my sun, moon, and rising, and it's garnet, and peridot because I'm a sun, moon, Capricorn, and rising Virgo. And I think that's really fun. If you want to cleanse your garnet, you're going to use running water, or you can put it on top of a cluster of cleansing stones such as selenite or clear quartz. And if you need to charge it, you can put it in sunlight for a short time. As you know from this past episode, we go over the lengths of times that you want to go over you want to do for your charging your crystal, so it really is up to you. So now we're going to get into the chemical makeup of this wonderful crystal. Shout out to Becca because she helped me with some of these words. So there are multiple different color spectrums of garnet, and I'm really gonna go over the most common because there's like a million. And when I was looking over this, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many. I can't just do one because, it's my favorite stone. So the garnet family is a group of silicate minerals with varying components. The most common are pyrope, which is magnesium iron silicate. Alamandine is iron aluminum silicate. Spessartine is manganese aluminum silicate. Grossular is calcium aluminum silicate. Andradite is calcium iron silicate. And uvarovite is calcium chromium silicate. Now it depends on the color, so we have yellow, green, black, or brown. I've only ever had the red, so the pyrope, that's going to be the most common one, and that's the one that's affiliated with January. But each of these are going to be varying by divalent cations and trivalent cations, and I'll be honest with you, I love some good science. But anyways, if anybody else has ever used garnet, you can let us know in the comments, or if any of you know what these chemical makeups look like. Thank you guys for listening. Let us know in the comments how you used the crystal we showcased today, and if there are any you would like us to talk about in the future. Thank you for coming to our garden. Please like and subscribe if you enjoy our content.